Thank you. Wait until you hear what I have to say. Then maybe you'll stand then. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank all of you for being here. I would also like to thank the management, the staff, and all of our servers today from the Crowne Plaza. They always do a wonderful job, and we need to recognize the job they do. I also want to thank the Aurora Rotary Club for hosting us. I want to thank all of the members of the Aurora City staff who are here. Some who helped put this event together, some who are here listening, some who are involved in some other way. You know, there's nothing really that happens in Aurora City government that doesn't happen with the involvement and the expertise of Aurora City employees. In my opinion, at least, the best city employees in the state of Colorado. Certainly, they're headed up by City Manager Skip Noe, Deputy City Manager Nancy Freed, Deputy City Manager Michelle Wolf, and I know as well, I saw Judge Weinberg, Chief Judge Weinberg out here, and Interim City Attorney Mike Hyman is here. So I know that we have the city leadership with us today. There are in the audience numerous elected officials, also candidates, and I don't want to risk not naming everybody. That's a problem. But would anyone who currently holds public office or is running for public office please stand so we can acknowledge your efforts and your participation? Certainly, I would like to call out the members of the Aurora City Council. I've seen most of them. I don't know that I've seen all of them yet today, but Ward 1 Council Member Sally Monnier, Ward 2 Council Member Renee Peterson, Ward 3 Council Member Marcia Berzins, Ward 4 Council Member Molly Markert, Ward 5 Council Member and also current Mayor Pro Tem Bob Roth, Ward 6 Council Member Bob Broom, at-large Council Members Barb Clelland, Bob Laguerre, Brad Pierce, and of course I'm missing somebody. Oh, Debbie Hunter-Holen. I'm sorry, Debbie Hunter-Holen. I would also for a moment like to call out, as was done earlier in one case, but on my own in another, Police Chief Dan Oates, who will be leaving us. Chief Oates has done a marvelous job in his tenure, and he will be missed. I would also like to call out longtime City Attorney Charlie Richardson. Charlie has served the city for more than 3 decades. He will be with us a little bit longer in a special capacity, but I think the amount of time and effort that he's put into this city of Aurora over that time is absolutely remarkable. So it's already May of 2014. It's a reminder of how quickly time passes. And it's also a reminder of how much opportunity there is in this great city of Aurora, Colorado. I would ask if you have seen the signs of progress in Aurora. If not, just look around you, for example. They're everywhere. This is clearly the time to take advantage of opportunity and make success happen in our city. After all, how often do any of us really get an opportunity to literally build a new city? And that is what we are seeing and doing today. Have you experienced the traffic jams on I-225? Well, the good news is I am assured that the highway construction portion will end by fall, and that's fall of 2014. That alone is optimism. Over the last year, the city has experienced increases in building permits, building licenses, increases in small business openings, increases in housing permits. And while there are still too many of our residents out of work, the unemployment rate has decreased. Throughout 2013 and the first quarter of 2014, we've seen increases in sales and use tax revenue and increases in tourism dollars. Those numbers don't lie. As a city in charge of our own development destiny, we have grown to be nearly 350,000 residents. Based on that growth rate, by the 2020 census, the city of Aurora will be one of the 50 largest cities in the United States. Aurora now compares to places like Honolulu, Minneapolis, Cleveland. And to put that in perspective, we've already passed cities like St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, St. Paul, Buffalo, and Orlando. And just offhand, thinking of that last list, maybe City of Aurora, for those of you who are well aware of pro football, ought to be looking at a pro football team, because we've passed St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Buffalo. Maybe it's time. Don't worry, Mayor, we won't come take the Broncos. It's okay. We know our schools are performing well under new leadership at the helm of education in this city. We want to thank Aurora Public Schools Superintendent Rico Munn and his board, Cherry Creek Superintendent Harry Bull and his board, and Aurora Community College President Betsy Udenhoven and her board for their efforts to make education primary importance in Aurora. We thank them for their commitment to continue to bring new and innovative policies and practices to each student, and with a passion that grows excellence in our city. Our schools are educating a global workforce, one that will benefit not just Aurora and not just the metro area, but Colorado and the nation for years to come. We know we thrive when we open our arms to the world, and education is a key to making that happen. Almost 60 years ago, the then Aurora mayor was quoted as saying, "The city is content with its role as a city of homes. It could support industry, but as far as industry is concerned, it can go calling elsewhere." Well, times have changed. Aurora is now the city for business and industry. As a very concrete example, we were just named as the #1 city in the United States for professional opportunities by the internet group WalletHub. As a further example, in November of last year, the Aurora City Council voted to reduce tap fees for businesses and residents by some 20% to help encourage development in the city. It was a bold move when others were raising their rates. I salute the City Council for taking that action. And what resulted from that vote? Today we have seen that marked increase in building permits and new businesses to grow Aurora. Councilmember Marcia Berzin spearheaded that same kind of effort for the Fanfare redevelopment. Today, instead of a dilapidated concrete structure sitting on an undevelopable site, the Aurora Urban Renewal Authority now has prime acreage cleaned and ready for retail, office, and residential development. The Havana Business District recently won the Denver Regional Council of Governments Gold Award for Planning for Economic Development. Under the leadership of Executive Director Gail Jetchik and her district board, they have developed a working model that is envied throughout the metropolitan area and is frequently used as a guide for businesses, developing businesses and residential efforts. Now, it's often a challenge to get 10 city council members to agree on something. But think of them getting 3 miles of differing opinions and diversities to agree. Kudos to the Havana Business District for their contribution in making Aurora's Havana streetscape lined with public art and filled with prosperous businesses. Look around today. How many corporate residents do you see? They employ our citizens. They volunteer in our communities. They pay significant tax dollars, resulting in city services for our residents. These corporate residents invest millions in our community, create thousands of jobs, and we couldn't survive without them. I want to thank everyone who owns, operates, or works in a business in Aurora. I also want to thank Aurora Chamber President Kevin Hogan and his staff for all they do to help bring about the success of this city. One of the great signs of growth is emerging industry in Aurora. From Dry Dock Brewing to Niagara Water to United Natural Foods to Advanced Circuits to Stephen Roberts Original Desserts, Aurora is seeing businesses grow. And soon that growing will include the coming retail marijuana business. Retail and grow operations will be treated as an emerging business cluster in our community. Mayor Pro Tem Bob Roth and Council Members Molly Markert and Barb Clellan put in a huge amount of work to make sure that this would happen and happen properly in Aurora. This summer, the City Council will be bringing forth a ballot question asking our residents to vote yes on new taxes to help bring the revenue necessary to help pay for the impacts of that marijuana business. I would urge a yes vote on that question when it's presented. Being in 3 counties, Aurora will not succeed without partnerships. And in partnership with Wendy Mitchell and the Aurora Economic Development Council and its board over the last couple of years, we have seen 34 primary employers relocate to or expand in Aurora, amounting to 4,800 new jobs and more than $400 million in economic impact. Perhaps the most important project they have fought for and brought to the city recently is the Gaylord Rockies Hotel. Gaylord is located in Councilmember Renee Peterson's ward, and she is one of its strongest supporters. This project, which only brings $8.2 billion in net revenue to the Colorado economy, 400,000 new tourists to Colorado over the next 30 years, creates 10,000 construction jobs and 2,500 permanent jobs, has so far been held up in court. Aurora, with RETA Development as our partner against this frivolous litigation, has won at every turn. I believe we will continue to win. I want to thank RETA Development and its president, Ira Mitzner, for picking up the project and joining with us to ensure that this hotel will succeed. There will be a Gaylord Hotel in Aurora, and it will help to transform the tourist industry in Colorado. Have you noticed the signs related to transportation evolution in Aurora. This year, we are literally leading the entire metropolitan area in transportation improvements. Many thanks are due to Council members Bob Laguerre and Bob Broom for their ongoing leadership on Council, keeping transportation needs at the forefront of the city agenda. I hope our efforts will soon lead also to the extension of 6th Avenue east from Buckley Air Force Base to E-470. That extension is not only time, it's what is necessary, and it's what it will take to protect the future of Buckley Air Force Base and open up the northwest part of Aurora for development. Next, the East Commuter Rail Line, which has an Aurora station at Gateway Park and a joint station with Denver at Peoria, and the Aurora Line, running the length of I-225, have multiple stations with the potential for transit-oriented development. And both lines are within 24 months of opening for testing. In less than 3 years, the entire metropolitan area will connect to Aurora, and this city and its citizens will use that connection to grow up before our very eyes. Have you seen the continued signs of commitment for Buckley Air Force Base? Buckley is home to almost 12,000 defense workers, most in our community. Another 5,000 or 6,000 employees support Buckley's mission at the more than 20 aerospace companies nearby. In Aurora today, we find names like Raytheon, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin. All of that is a critical part of this city and this region and our economic health. And we will continue to work with the political and military leadership of Colorado to protect this tremendous asset. We can't talk about how much the city of Aurora has changed and how much it will continue to change without mentioning the Colorado Science and Technology Park at Fitzsimmons. Under the direction of the Fitzsimmons Redevelopment Authority and its leader, Steve Van Nerden, bioscience companies there are generating new discoveries and innovations, studying and researching in advanced turnkey facilities. I'm excited to remind all of you that just last month, the FRA broke ground on Bioscience 2, a new 112,000 square foot building scheduled to open in August of 2015. It will house R&D space and the University of Colorado's innovative new bioengineering program. The proximity to commercial bioscience companies with the university will encourage innovation and collaboration. And I want to congratulate Bruce Benson, Don Elliman, and Lily Marks for their continued success in bringing the University of Colorado to Aurora. And while you may not have noticed it or realized it, there is a growing medical district emerging all along I-225 from 17th Place to Iliff Avenue. At the north end, dedicated to excellence in patient care, education, and research, is the Fitzsimmons Anschutz campus. More than 21,000 people work there now. More than 40,000 will work there when it's built out. With the potential of one of those TOD light rail sites, the opportunities on that campus are endless. The campus is half built out, and it already contributes $6 billion annually to the state's economy. To put that in context, that's more than the entire Colorado ski industry. Included with the Life Sciences District, you'll find the University of Colorado Schools of Medicine, Nursing, Dental, Pharmacy, and Public Health, the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute, the Barbara Davis Center for Diabetes, the Centers for American Indian and Alaskan Native Health, Children's Hospital Colorado, the University of Colorado Hospital, and the CU Cancer Center. We are proud that they call Aurora home. In addition, construction continues on the 1.1 million square foot replacement VA Medical Center that will serve over 80,000 of our veterans. We hope the hospital is completed soon. That's another sign of optimism. Toward the south, you'll find the Medical Center of Aurora, led by Richard Hammett, which not too long ago completed major innovations in several key operations. The Medical Center of Aurora is one of the finest private hospitals in the metro area. They are neighbored by other specialized medical facilities and offices, and will soon be bolstered by the Florida Avenue stop on the Aurora line. In between, you'll find specialized medical offices, housing opportunities for both employees and families of patients, facilities such as the Ronald McDonald House, Alzheimer's patient housing, and assisted living centers. As I said, it is a very real and growing medical district. Another sign of success is that of Visit Aurora, under the leadership of Gary Wheat and his board. City Council member Brad Pierce is a member of that board, spends a great deal of time helping to direct those activities. Their efforts have been the catalyst for an increase in lodgers tax revenue by double digits year after year over the last 3 years. In addition, Aurora MD program matches quality healthcare amenities and physician specialists with people in need of those services. Also provided through the program are necessary hotel, restaurant, and transportation options, resulting in significant medical-related travel to Aurora, hospitals, and clinics. Last year, it was announced that CorporEx Colorado would be building a 245-room Hyatt full-service hotel and a 30,000 square foot conference center right across the street from the Fitzsimmons-Anschutz campus. Joining the hotel and conference center will be a multi-story, 208,000 square foot Class A office building and multifamily residential space. I can now tell you that this complex is scheduled to break ground next month and plans to open by early 2017. Many thanks to Mark Witkevich, who I know I saw in the audience, and CorporEx Colorado for building this project in Aurora. 2014 has also seen the opening of the new 200-room white tablecloth restaurant, 4-star Woolley Classic Suites near here at 40th and Airport Boulevard. You won't find that hotel brand anywhere in this region other than in Aurora. Go visit. You will be more than impressed with that facility. Have you also seen the signs that Aurora is now recognized for advancement in our active cultural and arts community? Councilmember Sally Monier is a strong and tireless advocate for a revitalization of what she calls urban Aurora. And part of urban Aurora is Aurora Cultural Arts District. You'll find original art not only in the galleries, but in programs such as Downtown Aurora Visual Arts, which helps kids, and also on the streets. Aurora actually has a robust $3.1 million public art collection, sprinkled indoors and outdoors throughout our city, and it's a collection that grows each and every year. We've witnessed the continued growth of the theater scene with productions at the Vintage Theater and the award-winning Aurora Fox Theater. The Kim Robarts Dance Group has now made Aurora home. And these folks can always use your help in bringing arts to our community. So when you get a chance, Go and enjoy the restaurants and enjoy the performances. I know that you'll be entertained. And have you seen the signs celebrating the ethnic diversity in our city? Much of the world looks to America for opportunity, and they choose to move to a city that easily provides that opportunity. Aurora is one of those communities. In Aurora, we celebrate and champion our diversity. It is one of the unique parts of this city and a piece that gives me the most pride in my city. 2 years ago, we established our Aurora International Roundtable. Last year, we instituted International Day. At the Roundtable's suggestion, and coming this year on August 23rd, Global Fest will celebrate international ties through a day of music, artisans, cultural vendors, and culinary adventures in Aurora. Come to the Great Lawn on the west side of City Hall and see for yourselves what a wonderful city we are growing up to be. To help tie together the community that currently lives in Aurora with a vision for increased global initiatives and new partnerships, Aurora is revitalizing its Sister Cities program through the able direction of Taberly Dunlop and her board. And City Council member Debbie Hunter-Holen is leading the effort to make this a success. And she is helping to ensure that the focus is business, tourism, and education. The Community College of Aurora, Visit Aurora, and the Chamber are active partners in this effort. Now is the time, and City Council agrees that now is the time for the city to become more active in this effort. It's been made one of our priorities for the next year and a half. As part of that effort, I believe it's time for the city to offer free space to the official office of any foreign jurisdiction, whether city or country, willing to locate itself in the city of Aurora. I'm often asked, what is the most difficult part of my job as mayor of this great city? That answer is really simple. It's getting together with the other 10 members of City Council, balancing the needs that we all see with the means in which we have to work. In that regard, I've already heard that this is the time when aspirations and a desire for change is great. It's also a time where this opportunity is abundant. It's also a time to put aside hesitation and move forward, believing that we can be great and not just settle for good. We must aspire, and then we must take action. Aurora is now the 56th largest city in the country in terms of population. We can distinguish ourselves with the kind of housing we are able to build in our community. This year, the legislature failed to address what I believe to be one of the most important issues facing Aurora. Whether it is the opportunity to build up rather than out, or being able to provide for-sale condos for retirees, or empty nesters, or single-family attached homes for singles and families starting out, or even affordable housing options through organizations like Habitat for Humanity, the legislature must address the construction defects issue. In most metropolitan areas in this country, 20% of the attached housing is owner-occupied, not rental. In the Metro Aurora-Denver area, it is 2%. And that isn't because people don't want to buy attached housing. My wife Becky and I, who I don't think I acknowledged earlier, and I'm sorry, My wife Becky and I are a perfect example. Give us a townhome or a condo product closer to the center of Aurora, and we would really consider selling our single-family home and moving. But there is no such product because there's a fight in the legislature. I am hopeful that our own Aurora State Senate President, Morgan Carroll, and the other legislators from Aurora will use their influence to help solve this problem rather than just let it fester. If that does not happen, I fear that the new urban Aurora may well be nothing more than 3-story walk-up apartments and a sea of them. We can and we must do better. Look around. Look around this room, and because of the people who are here, you will see the signs of Aurora's movement into the 21st century and recognize that our destiny is to become one of the largest, most unique, and most innovative cities in the United States. In order to get there, we now must make the conscious decision to act grown up, as well as telling everyone that we are grown up. I truly believe that great cities are made, not born. Aurora's history is a testament to that reality. If the town had given up when Donald Fletcher took the last train to anywhere, and the citizens actually voted 22-1 to disband and annex to Denver, we might have been there, Mayor, Aurora wouldn't be here today. Fortunately, no one followed through on that. And instead, we may well be on a path to pass Denver in population in the last quarter of this century. And I truly believe that the last 25 years of this century will be focused on the blossoming of this wonderful city. All we have to do in the meantime is keep our eye trained on that bright future, full of opportunity, and then take advantage of it. It will not happen on its own. We must move forward to build new reservoirs, new housing, new business, and new roads. We must cultivate the arts. We must recognize our history, and we must empower our citizens to speak out for what they want and what they deserve. This is my sign for today. It says, "The best is yet to come." To the rest of Colorado, this great nation, and even the world, we say, if you want to see the signs of real optimism, experience real opportunity, enjoy diversity, culture, and quality education, come to Aurora. If you want a good job and a nice home that meets your needs, if you want quality amenities and a safe environment, come to Aurora. And if you want a great place to live, work, and play, come to Aurora. Now, there are numerous of you out in the audience here. For those who still may be wondering about those signs of progress and optimism, please stand up and show how many there are. Hold them up. Hold them up. This is your city of Aurora in 2014. Today, we have abundant signs of optimism, progress, and unlimited opportunity in Aurora. We are truly building a great city. And if you doubt it, the signs are all around you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we've got this great tradition here where we get the opportunity to ask a couple of questions to the mayor before he leaves, some things that maybe he touched on, maybe he didn't. Maybe he'll be surprised, likely he won't. But let's go through the list of questions we have, and we'll start with this one. You talked about the importance of the new light rail line to Aurora's future. I don't think anybody questions that, but if you would elaborate just a little bit on how this is going to change the everyday lives of the average Auroran.
Well, certainly the Aurora line and the East line are critical to our future. And it touches so many different ways. For example, we're a community that relies a great deal on the automobile right now. If you find housing that suddenly develops around those stations, there are folks who will say, oh, gosh, I'm only 3 stops away from where I work at Anschutz, and I'm only 6 stops away from having a great dinner in downtown Denver. And I'm only 4 stops away from the airport. And there's a grocery store close by, and there are restaurants close by, and there are shops close by. And all of a sudden they say, well, gee, do I need a car? Now that kind of thing happens in downtown Denver all the time. It doesn't happen in Aurora. It doesn't happen in other communities in the metropolitan area. That's an example of the kind of change. Who lives in those residences? All of a sudden, it's a different community, whether it's students, or whether it's people who work at the Anschutz campus, or whether it's people who are serving those who work in those other locations, or whether it's people who work for any of the other companies that will settle in and develop in Aurora. It will bring new people, new opportunities. I mentioned we're 350,000 people. We don't have to buy another drop of water, and we can serve 675,000 people. Now, that doesn't mean we don't buy any more water. We do, and we have to build reservoirs. But we are a city that is roughly 55% built out. That's current zoning. If we start building up, the numbers go up, and it all changes.
You and I are both going on living here about 45 years. Quite a different city than when we both moved here. Yeah. Look in your crystal ball 5 years, 10 years down the road. You know, 5 years seems like forever, but we know how fast that time goes. Where are we 5 years from now?
I think the most interesting thing about the city is that we have a huge opportunity to define what it is that we want to be. If we look at it now, we've got that medical district that I mentioned. We've got the Fitzsimmons Anschutz campus. We've got Buckley. We've got industry that's already here. We talk about the Fitzsimmons Anschutz campus, but that's something different from the University of Colorado. So we're a university town, we're a military town, we're a retirement town, we're a medical town. We sit right next to Denver International Airport. So what we become, I think, is still uncertain. But I think those areas of emphasis will be there. And I don't think there's anybody else in Colorado that has that. I mean, they really don't. We've starting with Buckley, starting with the military. And when you've got 20,000 people already working in that industry area, we don't want them to go away, big hole if they do. So we've got to protect them. We've got the University of Colorado now. You can't get a medical degree in Colorado without attending school in Aurora. You can't do it. So we're a university city. And then you've got the campus, and you've got the medical district, and for me, the opportunities are unlimited. And if I could come back here in 25 years, I'm sure I wouldn't recognize it.
Let's talk about everybody's favorite subject, microbreweries.
Yeah. You mean the beer committee that we have that tries to?
Yes, sir,
Okay,
that committee.
Right.
We've got our very own original dry dock, of course, which right now, ladies and gentlemen, is selling bombers of Colorado Freedom Memorial Blonde Ale. Please support your favorite Veterans Memorial today. We've seen a couple more, obviously, microbreweries spring up, more than a couple. I mean, it's been a pretty active part of our community. Is it something the city's paying specific attention to?
Yeah, and it's because it's already here. Dry Dock set a great example. The Moo brewery is opening up on Colfax shortly. The one in the Fitzsimmons campus. Coda. There will be others coming. Back to Dry Dock for a moment. Any of you folks who are collectors, there's only one beer label in the history of beer, well, the recent history of beer, that has been allowed to have the American flag on the label. It is the current production of Dry Dock.
Yep.
So go buy yourself a bottle of Dry Dock beer and you'll have a collector's item, even if you don't drink it. So,
Thank you for that.
yeah.
It is the aforementioned Colorado Freedom Memorial Blonde Ale. Thank you very much. Supplies are limited. We have, and you mentioned all of these great institutions that are here in Aurora, CCA, we've got Ecotech, we've got University of Colorado Hospital. To me, it seems like this is an incredible opportunity for APS and Cherry Creek schools and others to use those as great resources in their own education. And perhaps, maybe I'm misreading it, but maybe an opportunity for Aurora to attract additional educational partners. Yes?
Yes, and we don't stop there. You know, Ecotech, for example, as a private school, Colorado Technical University, a number of other schools that are here in Aurora. And we already see a great deal of interplay between the K-12 education and beyond. You know, we have students who graduate from Aurora high schools who already have completed almost a year of community college. And it's because of those points of connection that have been made in the past. And I'm certain, I mean, I've seen no indication from anybody they don't want to continue that, because it only works well for everybody. It works well for businesses who need interns. It works well for the city of Aurora if we need interns. We've got students who have some experience, who are educated right here, who learn their skills at the left hand of somebody teaching them. Mm-hmm. And with the diversity that we have in this community, providing those opportunities for additional jobs in the future, again, it's an unlimited opportunity.
We'll leave with this one. You've been supportive, not just recently, this has been your career in life, transportation and transportation improvements, specifically opening 6th Avenue between Airport and E470. Why is that so important?
I think it's important for 3 different reasons. First is another door in and out of Buckley Air Force Base. We all know what happens on 225 right now. And yes, the construction's going to end, but, you know, big accident, blocks off 225, something happens, it's a national security issue. Base folks have trouble whether they go out on 6th or they go out on Mississippi, tough to get there. They try to go east instead of west. They go out on Mississippi, they're driving through neighborhoods, and it's a problem. They go east on 6th Avenue, they end up literally driving around and over E470 and then down Gun Club Road to Jewel to finally get on 6th Avenue. So it opens up an opportunity if we make that connection at 6th Avenue, the 6th Avenue interchange. It does that. It opens up opportunities for development from 6th Avenue north in the whole northeastern part of Aurora. We already have some industry there, but we've got the room and the interest for more. But if the only way in and out is coming down Tower Road, ending at Colfax, turning west, driving over to Airport Boulevard, turning south, going down Airport Boulevard, et cetera, it's not conducive. And then finally, it helps with the southeast portion as well, because it provides another way across Aurora. I mean, right now, if you live in the southeast, you go on 225, you go on Quincy, and you don't have another real way across easily until you get up to I-70. I mean, sure, you can make your way across on Jewel, which turns into Iliff, which turns into Evans, but you can't make your way across. So it, for me, provides 3 reasons to do it and to make it the #1 transportation priority that we have.
This job, the best job you ever had?
Oh, absolutely. You know, there's a good city council. Now, don't mistake that for a city council that unanimously agrees on everything all the time, right, guys? We don't see you agreeing unanimously on everything all the time. But we have a lot of healthy discussion, we have good debates, and we make decisions. I think that's helpful to staff because they understand what our priorities are. We may fight about how, but once we've made the decision over what, we get it done. In terms of what's happening in this community, the opportunities with our diversity, with our business opportunities, with our educational opportunities, with our gamut of opportunities, you couldn't find a better time.
Mayor of Aurora, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Hogan. Thank you very much, Mayor.